Hey, this is Rick with Outdoor Emergencies at hikingemergencybeacon.com, and today I have my 750i, the Garmin Montana 750i right here. It's my first field test, and we're going to run through this today and see what it has to offer. Let's see how different it is from the Garmin GPS Map 67i. But before we get into this in-depth field test today, please like, subscribe, share, and turn on notifications so you'll be alerted as soon as I put out new videos. Now you're going to see my buddy Ranger here as he's going to wander around through the camera, so just don't pay attention to him. Watch the Montana here. All right, I'll just tell you real quick, we're going to run through the features, or how the buttons are set up and the basic physical features of this thing. But I really want to point out today, you can see this is the 67i, the GPS Map 67i, and you can see, it's maybe about the same height. This is a little bit taller. Just take a look at it. It's definitely about a ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch taller. It's a good inch or so wider. And the body of it here, I mean, the antenna is about a ½ inch to 3/4 taller, but the body is almost maybe an inch taller, at least 3/4 of an inch. Width wise, they're similar, and it's heavier. One thing this is it has a touch screen. This the GPS Map 67i does not. I will say real quick that the main difference is here. And you can see there's these clips on the side where this clips into something on your Jeep, your truck, your ATV, or maybe even a boat. And this here does not have a very good battery. I mean, the 67i will blow the battery away on this. And this is really meant for more off-roading or being on some kind of vehicle. I think it's probably too big to put on a bike. Now maybe a motorcycle or a off-road motorcycle, dirt bike, maybe too big, but it still would work. ATV for sure, and a truck or Jeep, absolutely. This really is an off-road or a vehicle-mounted satellite communicator, and it is an InReach device. So let's run through some of these buttons. I just want to point out real quick though. I've got the Garmin InReach Mini 2 right here, and you can see for sure on this one, I mean, there's no comparison. Width-wise, it's about the same. There is a Garmin backpack tether right here, which I use to mount both of these on my packs. There'll be a link in the description below on that. But it makes it look wider, but really it's probably less wide, and it's a fourth the size. Weight-wise and everything, it doesn't even compare. So these two I have right here, they're really meant for hiking. If you're out walking around hiking, maybe you're fishing, hunting, you want to carry these. Now this is my opinion. My buddy Mike from Mike and Rick Outdoors, he would disagree with you. He went and bought this. I was telling him to go with the 67i, and he ended up going with the Montana 700i. He returned the 700i, exchanged it for the 750i because the 750i will take photos. And I don't know if this is the right terminology, but it'll geolocate those photos. I don't really think it's the best camera, but I might be wrong. But I took a few pictures last night, and you can see the camera right here. And compared to when I take photos with my iPhone, I didn't think it was absolutely the best photo, but I don't know for sure yet because I didn't download those photos and view them on my computer. So when Mike disappointed me because he went against my advice, because it's Mike and Rick Outdoors, and now I'm the Rick on Mike and Rick Outdoors, and but what he has an ATV, and he does mostly hunting and fishing, so he's riding around in his ATV, and it just made sense after I thought about it and stuff and talked to him more. It made sense that he went with the Montana 750i. So now I've got it. I'm going to do some in-depth reviews on it and field tests. And I want to break everything down into playlists so that you can look at something in detail on navigation, messaging, weather, but it'll all be in smaller chunks. Today I'm going to run over all of it in a larger, longer format to cover it all. but I'll break it all down in a playlist. All right, the basic layout here is, again, touchscreen, very large screen. I mean, this screen is, I mean, it's not twice as big, but it's a good maybe 1.5 times larger. The power button is right here on, when you're facing it, the left side. There's these clips right here, basically, that will clip into a window mount or a handlebar mount on your ATV. And this right here will charge. I have a charging mount, so when I put it in my mount on in my truck, it'll charge. You'll see that when it's clipped into that mount, it charges, and under that mount there's a cable that comes out and it goes to the well, I would call it a cigarette lighter outlet, but you know, it charges, it goes into your USB port in your vehicle. But anyway, that comes out of the mount, but it charges right here. So on the side here, there is the the connection for when you plug in your USB to the computer or the wall. You can charge it right here, or you can download and upload information, install software updates. So, you know, I'll touch on that here in just a second, because it took me a while to actually get this all set up to work. And on the other side, the most important thing, there's these clips here again, because the mounts clip on both sides. And on this side is the cover for the SOS. No joke. You hold that down for 3 seconds and the IERCC will contact you and send a team out to rescue you if you need it. All right, that's the basic buttons. Let's talk about what's on the back real quick. Of course, this is the antenna here. There's a, you know, what do you call it? You turn this right here and it opens up. This is the battery. All right, that's the battery, and inside here there is it's not a USB, it's a micro SD card goes in here. And I didn't realize, most of these other devices, the micro SD card will go in somewhere on the outside. This one here particularly, the micro SD card goes inside here. I'll have a separate playlist to show you how that goes in. All right, so that's it, except for the camera on the back. The camera's right here, the flashlight's right here, and we'll run through all of this here in just a second. All right, I had to let that little airplane clear the area because I don't like airplanes. I mean, I love airplanes, I love flying. I'm actually a pilot. But when I'm doing a video, I don't like to hear them in the background. So I'm turning this on right now. While this is turning on, I just want to let you know, I mean, the setup on this takes more time, at least that it did with the GPS Map 67i and the Mini 2. What happened was, oh, it already turned on, but what I'll just tell you, I downloaded maps, I installed updates from the Garmin Express software, and then I ran into another issue, and maybe it's the 67i has a lot more internal storage, but there was city maps, I think, available, then there was a TopoActive North America, and when I downloaded it, was just getting those set up, it ran out of internal space. Now, fortunately, I had, I think, a 32 gig micro SD card, and I was able to put that in there. And then that whole process of moving things from the internal storage to that portable or the micro SD card, it took an hour and a half. At one point, I had to come back. Then I had to. It just took a while. So just be prepared when you set this up. You know, don't be setting it up the morning you're leaving on your trip, or even the day before. You want to get this all set up and then go test it some. So let's jump in here and look real quick. Now, I do want to tell you, there's going to be screenshots up of this, and I'm going to have a separate video on how to do the screenshots. But basically, you hit the power button, or that's one option, is to hit the power button. And well, let's just run through that real quick. All right, so when you first turn on the screen, maybe it'll go to the map, but mine in this case went to the menu page. Now I can tell I'm already getting a flicker on this, so I'm not going to show you this here. I'm going to just put the screenshots up. All right, so on the main menu, you have your InReach page. You had setup, mark waypoint. There's all kinds of things here. There's the camera, photo viewer, and course planner, waypoint manager, all that right here on the first page. Now you can add a page, and if you hit on the plus icon here, then there's other things that are not on the menu page when you start. It says adventures, alarm clock. Now I may put the alarm clock on the first page. I don't know if but anyway, I might. And then there's all kinds of things here you can add. And then at the top, you can see there's a kind of a toolbar setting, and it says about accessibility. These are also things that you can add. On the far right, there is a search, addresses, adventures, all POIs, auto services, all kinds of things like that. All right, so there's a lot of things on this menu, and you know, there may be more things on this than the 67i. And if you are not a high-tech person, if you want to keep it minimal or be a minimalist kind of person when you're hiking and you want something simple, the Mini 2 is actually a great device and has a lot of the power that both of these have. When it's synced with your cell phone, your smartphone, and you have the access to the Explorer app and the Messenger app, by itself it's still a powerful device, but it doesn't, you know, it's not a touch screen, and you can see your courses, waypoints, your tracks on the screen here, but you can't see the maps. You can get weather on the Mini 2, but there's so many things you can't do on this that you can do on both of these. Now, I will say too, this has like city maps. There's a couple other things it does that, and there's one thing I can't even remember it now. I'm going to put it on the screen. There's something that's separate you download, and you can, as far as navigating with roads and trails, and if you're driving, that's something that you can use. I just don't remember it at the moment. All right, and before I go any farther, I just want to remind you, there's the 700i. Most everybody's going to look up the Montana 700i, and a lot of people, that's maybe what you're going to go with. But this is the 750i, and the only difference is it has the camera. All right, just want to remind you about that. So if we go to the next page, or it's not really the next page, it's under setup. You have the setup menu, and here there's all kinds of things like the display, the Bluetooth on the phone, then there's Bluetooth audio, Wi-Fi, tracking, messaging. So in the maps, all these are settings, and then you can go into system. Now, I will tell you real quick, this is under system. If you want to take screenshots, this is where you go to, and you actually hit the power key, and then you can there's something here that says single tap and double tap. And you can go into this, and there's all kinds of things you can set up. There's a menu, flashlight, screen off, take picture. And so, but because I'm out here videoing for you guys, and I put under single tap, and that's single tap on the power button, I put the screen capture. So then when I hit that power button just one time, it captures that screen image. All right, so let's get back out of here. That's how you get to the screen capture. All right, so that's enough about the menu. Other than at the bottom, there's the menu. There's all these little buttons, or not buttons, where you touch them, they're little icons. So the next one over from the menu homepage is the map. And you can see the map there. And right now I have it where wherever I point, it doesn't point north here. You can change that setting, but it's just wherever I point, that's the direction. I'm pretty much pointing south right now. All right, so then next to that, it is the compass. And let's see, one thing over from that, it gives elevation, trip odometer, distance to next, I guess it's a waypoint, and speed, moving average, and all that. And then after that, there's InReach. Now, when you hit the IR, that is what sends you to your messaging. So I can send check-in message, new message, and then it shows messages I already have. I have a message from, it's a test from InReach from Garmin. All right, then over the next that is the search, and then there's 3 bars on the right. It says search near, change item order. Now that is where if you want to change things and there's something you use more often, you can put that to the top. Other things you don't use, you can put on to the bottom on the menu page, and then you can take things off the menu page and add them. Just want to make that clear. All right, on the main page, the menu page here, if you click on InReach, this is where it has tracking, SOS messaging, InReach utilities, InReach weather, and contacts. This is where I want to start. We'll end up with navigation and towards the end here. But this again is a first look at this device, and I'm going to break all these down in separate playlists. So on the tracking, here's where you can start tracking and send a map share. Now, I'd like to talk about map share real quick. I originally didn't use map share very much, but when I realized that map share, when you send a link to somebody for the map share, then they can see where you're at on your adventure. But they can also message you. That is the only way for somebody without an InReach device to initiate a message to you. So make sure the people you want to be able to contact you when you're out on your adventure, you send this MapShare link. You can send it from your computer, but you can also send it here. And then you can start tracking. All right, so SOS. Now, what's here, all it does is tell you to hold the button down. So you can hit OK right here, but it's just giving you instructions. All right, then, and remember, the SOS is the physical button right here under this cover. All right, then the messaging. When you click on that, then you can send a check-in message. And I've got this set up already. It says I'm checking in, everything's okay. I'm starting my trip. I'm ending my trip. These are all customizable. You can put the people you want, and then you can change the message. Now, you have to do this customization in the explore.garmin page that you'll have when you buy this. But everybody's right here, my family, and I don't know if my buddy Mike's in this group. I don't think he is. It's basically my wife and 2 kids. One thing I also want to point out real quick, on the bottom of the screen, there's usually always the 3 bars where it gives you more information, or there's other options. And then on the left, there's the little back arrows. But it's all things you can just click here on the screen. It's really nice. One thing I really like about this is it's a touch screen, and it's easier to get around sometimes rather than hitting buttons. Like on the 67i, there's these buttons and everything you got to do with these. But on this, it's just the Montana 750i, 700i, it's all touchscreen. All right, after the send-in check-in, there's new message. And if you click on new message, now there is type message, send quick text, and send location. So on send location, you can, I'm starting at the bottom, going back up. This is where you then can select who, and it'll send the message, your actual location. So if you have MapShare set up, you don't have to do this. But if you don't have MapShare set up and you want to send a location to somebody, this is great. This happened with me and Mike on my buddy. We were camping. He was coming from Oklahoma. We were meeting up in the mountains. We didn't have any cell service. And we were able to I was able to send my location to him this way. And then he was able to use that and navigate to where I was at, because I went up to find a campsite. It was a first come, first serve. It was rural campsite out in the middle of nowhere. And I didn't know where we were going to camp. So I went up there first, I found it, then I sent this to him, and he was able to navigate to it. He actually, he was using the 750i. All right, I'm not going to send the message here, but I will click on 2 right here. And what happens here, it goes to, you can type in the recipient or type recipient, but you can then go to Facebook, MapShare, Twitter, and then I have my family, and then Mike is also in this. You select them. So once you select it, it turns to a green check mark on the name, and you can select more than one person. All right. And then when you're done with that, then you go up and hit type recipients, and then it shows who they are in the screen right here. And then you can hit check mark. At the bottom right, there's a check mark, and I think, no, I hit the wrong button there, but there's a check mark at the bottom right. Now here it shows who's going to, and then it has location, and it says send message. I'm not going to send this message because I've bothered my kids and my wife so much with this test, and I've done this enough and proven that it works, so I don't need to prove this to myself. That's how you do it. So when you hit that send message, it sends it, it's done, then they'll know where you're at. All right, the next thing you can do under new message is send quick text. Now again, these are things that you need to set up at home on your computer on the explore.garmin site. And I think there's maybe at least 20, I want to say there's like 30 messages you can put in here. And I've got them in here. Now if you do this, and it's typical things you would say, then you don't have to type, you just select them. So I was like, I found a great campsite. This would be somebody that I'm out, that I'm on the hiking trip with. Give me a minute. Now give me a minute, it's a great one, because if you're doing something, you're in a difficult area and you're climbing, and you don't want to respond right then, you can hit that, and then they'll know, or you're okay, but you'll respond later. I'm starting from here, I'm stopping here. Now I may go back and change all this stuff, but I just want to let you know that you can change all these. So when you click this, and I'm going to click on give me a minute. Again, this is what happened on the other, this is a quick text, but on the send location, again, you have to then pick the person that's going to, and then you click on their name, and you hit, then type recipient, and then it says to, and then you hit the check mark at the bottom, and again, it shows the person or people you're sending it to and the message, and then you just hit that send message. Now there's 3 bars at the bottom, and there was no options on that, so sometimes the 3 bars don't mean anything. I'm gonna hit the back arrow, and what it says, and it did this before on the send location, it says discard changes, so I'm discarding it because I don't want to send it. The last thing on the send messages, or the new messages, type message. Now this is the same format. You hit the 2, then you can, again, if you want to send it to Facebook, Map Share, Twitter, and then, or you can select the person. You select the person, type recipients, they show up. You hit the check mark at the bottom right, and then you have to click on messages here. The others, where it says message, the send location already had the location in it. You don't send a message. And on the quick text is already under message. All right, so then you click on message. Now this is where you can type out something, and I'm just going to type in test, and we'll say test 3. I don't know, I've done so many tests out here. But what's nice here, there's these on the bottom left that you can hit all these special characters, the numbers, and you can do the little smiley face and all that kind of stuff, the wink and everything. And then you hit the check mark, and then it says who's this going to, and the message, and then you can send that message. I'm gonna hit the 3 bars at the bottom again, and there were no options there. Now in this case, instead of sending the message, I'm going to back out. Again, it says discard changes, and I want to discard them. All right, that's pretty much all there is to the messaging. Really simple. I would just say use the quick text as much as possible, but if you don't and you have to type in a unique message, it's really easy, because it's just like on your smartphone, your cell phone, my pocket here. All those numbers and letters show up on the screen in this touch screen, and really easy to type out. It's much easier to type out than on the 67i, and for sure on the Mini 2, because you have less buttons on the Mini 2 to arrow around and select the letters and numbers. It's easier here because the letters show up like this one, but you have to arrow around. It's just easier to arrow around on the 67i. All right, the next thing is the InReach utilities. Now this is something I really don't use much. It says mail check-in, check mailbox. Then at the top you can go over to communications test, and there's these 4 icons at the top. Plan usage, and I have the Expedition plan, subscription plan, and let's talk about that real quick though. On the Expedition plan, I have it because I'm out here testing, and I want to have greater detail. You have more detail when you're tracking, and then you get unlimited tracks and unlimited messaging. And of course, this is my business, this is what I do, so I have that. I just want to tell you though, if you're trying to save money, you can go month to month, and on month to month you can do the safety, the recreation, or expedition, and you can then suspend the subscription when you're not using it. Say you come out 2 or 3 times a year, you might want to have the Expedition plan and have all unlimited tracking and messaging, but you only use it for that month. You pay for it for a month, and you can cancel it. Now don't wait for the end of the month. Start your subscription, then maybe 3, 4, or 5 days later cancel it, because you'll still have that month available, but then it won't charge you for the next month. But you can also switch back and forth. You can be on the safety plan if you know you're not going to be out and you're not going to be messaging and you're not using tracking. Well, you can go on the safety. You can switch back and forth between subscription plans for no charge. Now there is I believe an annual fee for the monthly plan, and I want to say it's $30, something in that range, or 25 or so. It'll be on the screen. But you can then go also annual plan. Now, if you're on the annual plan, you'll save money per month. Like, you're out a lot. I'm out all the time, all year long here in Colorado. So I'm on the annual plan because it definitely saves me money. But even on the annual plan, I could go, say there's a month where I was not going to be here, or wherever. I could switch to the safety plan. Then the next month I could go to either recreation or expedition subscription plan. Again, no charge for switching back and forth. Just ways to save money. Just think about that, and use the plan that you need to help to save money and use it for something else. All right, then the last thing at the top right is, it says it's kind of like an I information. So mine's a contract expedition plan, has my name, unlimited SOS, unlimited text messaging, unlimited check-in messages, unlimited track points, unlimited tracking at 2-minute intervals or more. That's one thing that you get on the expedition plan. I want to say you can only get down to about 5 minutes or 10 minutes tracking. I think it's 5, it'll be on the screen. But on the expedition plan, you get to 2-minute tracking. All right, so I like that a lot. Because when I'm out here doing things with these videos, I want you to see more information. All right, we're done with that part. Then there's the InReach weather. I'm gonna hit that last here. There's the contacts. Now, there's nothing important about this other than you can put in a new contact, or you can, let's click on new contact real quick. And you can type in the name, person, email, all that. If you're out, now there was some of the satellite communicators that you had to put the information in ahead of time at home or in Wi-Fi or cell service. But here with these two devices, I think the Mini 2 also, but you can put the information in when you're out in the field. And that's nice. If you forget to, you didn't put somebody in and you're at home, you can still do it. All right, so we are not going to do that. But then there's all these people here. What happens if I click on it? And then it just gives their information. All right, let's go to InReach weather real quick. So I'm going to go hit new forecast. And then it has, right now it comes up as basic forecast type. The forecast type is basic. Location, my location. You can change that. It says marine off. That's if you're going to be out in a large body of water. You can get, wave height, seconds between the waves, the current. You can get some information if you're going to be on the water. So if you go to forecast type, again, there's basic and extended. We're going to just click on, we're going to keep it on basic. I just wanted to show you though that a few of these things. Then my location. Now this is where you can change it. And there's photos, coordinates, points of interest, the map. So if I wanted to go and click someplace else rather than here, then I can zoom out, and this is great because it's a touch screen, and I can zoom out away from here. And Mike and I are going to be out at 11 Mile Lake this week, just about an hour and a half, I think, west of Colorado Springs, and we're going to be fishing. So I'm going to go over there. So if I'm following Colorado Springs, and I got to go out west. All right, so there's 11 Mile Canyon. I'm going to zoom in here. Again, you're going to have screenshots of all this. And I'm going to click on the screen. It puts a red, like a pin, and it says Midland Railroad. Well, I put it in the middle of the lake. I guess there was a railroad that used to go through there. Interesting, did not know that. And then I can hit use. So it says Colorado Midland Railroad. I'm going to change this. This is great here. I'm going to just put Colorado 11 Mile Lake. And you can see, I already typed in 11 mile and then mile. I capitalized the M, and I didn't put a space in there. And it says English at the bottom. That's interesting. So for the space bar it says English. And we're gonna 11 Mile. I said Mike. Why did I put Mike? I just typo there. 11 Mile Lake. It's actually a reservoir. So I've done that. Hit the check mark. So it says Colorado 11 Mile Lake has the location, and marine is off. I'm going to click on that real quick. And so when I hit marine, I will be on a body of water, but I don't think it gives information for the marine weather when you're on it. It's a pretty big lake, but it's not that big. Forecast location must be on an ocean or other large body of water. You know, say the Lake Michigan, you know, some massive lake, right? Since availability may be very close to shore, select a location further from the shore if possible. Marine is similar to extended in data usage. All right, so we've done that. I'm going to turn that marine off. All right, so now I'm going to hit get forecast. Forecast updating, make sure the device has a clear view of the sky, sending request. And usually it'll send the request here within 30 seconds or less. You see me looking around, I'm watching where Ranger is. What's great about Ranger is while we're waiting for the weather, he's not a hunting kind of dog. He always wants to stay with us. So when I'm out with my kids or family, whoever, or friends, doesn't matter. He is always checking. We're hiking. Sometimes we might be 50 yards apart or so. We're going around the trail and switchbacks, and he'll go back and forth to make sure we're all there and okay. Pretty cool. Okay, so I've got the weather, and it's 54 degrees. Now this is over at 11 Mile Lake, and it gives Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. This is basic. It gives like 3 or 4 days of weather, but the extended would give like 7 days of weather. But if I click on today, then it gives weather every 2 hours. And if I click on, say, 10 a.m. this morning, this is where then it gives more information. Temperature, feels like, precipitation, cloud cover, wind, gust, humidity, pressure. I really like seeing that information. You click on the 3 bars at the top, on the bottom right, there's no options there. It doesn't have anything. When I go back out to the main part of the menu, the first page, there's an eye at the top right. When I click on that, it just tells the weather type. It's basic, location, updated today, time zone. And so when I hit those 3 bars at the bottom right, it came up with view map, then edit name and delete. So we don't need to do anything there. And it says update forecast here, and I'm getting out of that. So now I'm going to go back into the InReach, and so that was the weather. I've covered everything under that IR, under the menu page. So we're going to get back out of that. There's so many things to go through here, and the last thing I really want to talk about, okay, we were still talking about weather real quick, but if I hit on active weather, let's do that real fast. Active weather, see it says internet connection required, Wi-Fi setup, Bluetooth setup. Now, this is something, and I'm outside of cell service right here. You cannot get active weather, but active weather is great because when you have access to it, you can see, you know, the storm, you can see the different colors, you can see if it's the white and purple and there's hail. So it's nice to have, but you can't get it outside of cell service. That's one thing I wish they could fix. All right, so let's go to some navigation, and there's Waypoint Manager, recorded activities, saved tracks. But what I really want to touch on today is just a little bit about creating the course. This is so similar to the Garmin GPS Map 67i. It's the same process. But the first thing here says create course. Now, this is what I like. Right away it comes up with direct path, roads, and trails. I'm telling you right now, because I'm only going to use this in my truck, and then when I have an ATV, I'm going to go roads and trails. I'm not going to use direct path hardly, but I could. So if I was off a road or trail and I was, you know, there was nothing there and I was going basically overland or where there was no trail, I could put waypoints and then navigate that way. So I could use it that way, but a lot of times I'm going to be on some kind of trail. In this case, I'm going to hit roads and trails and create a course on your device. A course can have multiple destinations, which can be navigated point to point or on routable roads, or routable, however you want to say that, right? So get started. Now this is where it says add a point. Now here's what's nice is it says use map photos. So I guess if you've taken photos, you can navigate by the photos you took in the past or recently. And there's POIs, addresses, intersections, cities. So there's all these different ways to go and create this route or course. Now I am going to hit map, and here, this is what's always been the case with my other devices. The very first point I'm going to put down is right where I'm at. So it says point added to course. Now I'm going to zoom out, and I'm going to just go a long ways away. Well, I say a long ways away, but I'm going to go a little ways away, someplace different. And then I'm going to hit add. Point added to course. Now once I've done this, I'm going to hit my back arrow, and it shows those two locations. I can review real quick. Now it's a straight line, and I don't know why it didn't go to create, following that course. This is basically, this is like following waypoint to waypoint, and it's not something I wanted to do. All right, now, but I'll say here, be real quick, that what you can do, there's a plus or minus on the screen, so you can zoom in and out. Then there's also the kind of this two little pages or pieces of paper, which is the maps. I can click on the maps, and here it says public land popularity, topo active, and city navigator. That city navigator was one of the maps that I had downloaded. If I click on that, well, it does change to green, and by popularity. Okay. Well, anyway, this is something that I will cover in a lot more detail later, even though right now it's not doing what I want, because what it should do is it should go to a trail, a street, or some kind of road, and it should follow that. I'm not worried about it right now, because the first time I've done it, I know the 67i works that way. I know this works that way also. I just need to test it more. We're going to get out of this right now. And it says, well, it says calculating. Okay, when I backed out it one more time, it was calculating. This is where it may actually go ahead and put that route down along the roads. I think the reason it said, just showed the points before, because when I hit review on the map, I didn't hit go, I hit review. So when I backed out of review, this is where now it's calculating it, and it'll give me that direction by the road out here. While we're waiting for this, I just want to show you, I'm already at 91%. This is why this battery is not good. You need it charged. You need to charge it when you're out using it, because I had it fully charged when I left this morning. I've only been out here half hour, 45 minutes, and I've lost 9% of my battery in that quick of time. That's why I really say you wouldn't want to go backpacking with this. It's so big and heavy, you don't want to put it on your pack, but you're going to lose your battery real fast. So this is taking a little while to, it's still sitting on 80% on the calculating for this route or course. So while it's thinking and sending information to the satellite or receiving it, let's talk a little bit more and just wrap this up. Again, I'm going to cover all this in detailed playlist over the next several months. But, this is a great device. But again, I'm going to just tell you my personal opinion. It's all these videos really are on the site, is I'm testing them. And I'm not a Garmin expert. I've never worked for Garmin. I just started using these about 3.5, almost 4 years ago. Well, it'll be this fall, it'll be 4 years ago. And I just try them out. I test them. Just an average person who, grabs one of these and doesn't know everything about it. I'm not an expert. And I come out here and I try it and I see what works and doesn't work and mistakes I make, and I tell you guys about them. So again, this is an off-road vehicle. You want to mount this on something. You don't want to put it on the pack. Now, Mike did get a cover for it that had not a carabiner, but anyway, attached, and it hung on his pack. But I'll show you a picture of it right here. It's just big, and I just wouldn't do it. Again, it's an InReach device, and it's great. I am going to have it in my truck, and then when I have an ATV, I will have it on the ATV, but it'll always be charging. This video's already gone long enough, and it's still calculating. I'm a little bit irritated that it's taking so long to calculate, because when I create a course on my 67i, it calculates it a lot faster, and it gives me that information really quick. I will say real fast that the 67i, this GPS map 67i, is the newer device, has a faster processing speed. It has more internal memory. It's the flagship for Garmin right now, at least what some people there have said. This is maybe a little bit older device, but they haven't replaced it yet. And again, it'll be on my ATV or my truck when I go out. The only thing you might want to consider is if you go out, like I have several messengers, You know, when I say I'm carrying my Mini 2 and I'm out fishing this coming week here with Mike, I'm going to have the subscription on the Montana 750i, and it's going to be in my truck so that I can test and I can do some things and message when I'm out there in case we don't have cell service. But if you think you're going to have this backup and use this also, you need a second subscription, and that costs money. So you could always have a second subscription, but you would need it. I don't know how that works. I've never done that yet. I'm going to talk to Garmin. You know, it'd be nice if they had a plan where it's like, you know, you have two, it doesn't cost as much. But you can't, unless you're in Wi-Fi, you can't switch back and forth with these. So if you take them both out, well, unless you have two subscriptions and they're set up, think about that, because you're only going to be able to use one unless you go someplace where there's Wi-Fi and you can, maybe you got your laptop or something and you can go change it and switch it over. That could be a problem. So it's still calculating here. I'm going to put this image up on the screen. When that image does come up and it shows that calculation, you'll see it. I just don't have it right now. So I've talked long enough, and I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing me talk right now, but I'm going to bring more to you guys on this stuff. As I've already said, this is the first run, the first field test. I just wanted to show you everything it'll do. And this is not everything it'll do. It does so much more. But these are the basic things that I use, and I think probably most people would use. And that's it. That's enough for today, right? Okay, let's get over this and on to the next video. Thanks for joining me here on Hiking Emergency Beacon. Please like, subscribe, share, and turn on notifications so you'll be alerted as soon as I put out new videos. And if you'd like to support Hiking Emergency Beacon, there's a link in the description below. I always put this down there about the support Hiking Emergency Beacon because I don't get discounts hardly. I got a few discounts with Garmin, but they're like 35% off. I'm still buying all these, so it does take a lot of money. So if you want to support Hiking Emergency Beacon, I'd appreciate it. All right, thanks for joining me here in Colorado, and I'll see you in the next video.